Hey everybody, I'm back. Hopefully you all didn't miss me too much. Sorry this took so long, by the way. I was jet lagged as hell. I was on zero sleep, and I think I had a little too much fun last week because I totally lost my voice. But you know it'll take more than that to keep me away from Bimani Pro League DDR. Today I'll be covering all of Week 5 as well as Week 6, so you'll get a nice little double feature. If you already watched these without me, well, too bad, we're watching it again. This will include all 8 teams' third and final matchup, and then at the end we'll get a look at the standings heading into the playoffs. So this week will be super exciting, and every arrow is gonna count. Let's start off the action with Round 9, GiGO versus Taito Station Tradz. Good to see Maxwell Powers was let out of the Bimani dungeon. I missed that man like you wouldn't believe. Okay, enough rambling. Our first match is Tsuyoshi versus Men. Look at this song choice. Somehow out of that, Tsuyoshi gets Chiku Wactix and Men picks Imano Guilds. And just a reminder, when I say picked, technically it's this one song their opponent selected out of that person's 3 picks. In Chiku Wactix, Tsuyoshi comes right out of the gate with a strong lead, and even with one rogue miss, is able to handily defeat Men with only 4 perfects. Men with 23 and 3 greats. Obviously on these 13s you can't afford to drop that many notes. Imano Guilds is pretty much the same story. Tsuyoshi brought his A game. He knows his team should be on the upper half of that bracket, possibly the first seed. This one was just as cut and dry. Brilliant MA, nearly the exact same scores. Men was simply outclassed today. GiGO take 2 points in match 1. Next up is Unlim versus Thor. Unlim chooses We're So Happy, and Thor picks Snow Garland Fairy. For We're So Happy, stamina is a huge factor, and just staying locked in during those long runs in the chorus. Thor manages to stay focused, and starting from a white combo all the way to 150, he's able to slowly stretch out the lead throughout. No chance for a comeback on the side of Unlim because Thor ends it with 5 perfects to win by 16. Snow Garland Fairy starts out much closer than the last song, and the 2 players are going even into the second half, but with this selection's crazy offbeat patterns, especially at 200 BPM, we see Unlim's feet fall behind on that drill, giving Thor a quick 6-point lead. He takes this golden opportunity and runs with it, holding on for a great 2-0 win. And look at that, he's popping off. Taito Station strikes back. It all comes down to the tag battle, Unlim and Hibiki versus Men and Yudai. GiGO picks Possession, classic. Taito Station picks Flow, True Style. Not as good as Possession, but still classic. This is the classic theme after all. Possession, we already know all 4 of these players should be familiar with, and GiGO gets off to a roaring start with twin white combos going into the first slowdown. Men dropping behind from an early miss, but it seems like Yudai can still hold off. Until we get to the transition, flawlessly handled by Hibiki and Unlim, but a slight falter on the side of Taito Station, putting them both significantly behind. GiGO keeps up the lead even through the final step jumps to land a decisive first and second. Unlim ends up on top this time. Now for Flow True Style, they'll have to quickly get their bearings and adjust to that internal metronome to accommodate the notorious late sync. Also, we get a rather peculiar mod choice from Yudai.
With this option that Yudai is using to have all the arrows be the same color, what advantage does that give?
Well, Maxwell, let me answer that question for you. I have no idea, but it seems to be working in his favor. I'm also unsure why GiGO would let this pick through considering the problem with timing. While it's much closer than Possession and Yudai manages to take first, GiGO milks every last point with 2 second places. Once again, the Chad Hibiki does not negotiate with sync issues. He hits those notes on the beat no matter what, so he ends up with 17 fasts. Good effort on the side of Taito Station, but clearly it wasn't enough to stop GiGO from winning the round, meaning they're still in contention for that top seed. On the side of Group B, we have Round 10, Supernova Tohoku versus Leisureland. Match 1 is Own versus Ringo. Own picks Bass Drop Freaks, and Ringo chooses Kronos Walk With You remix. This match is easy, simple theme songs, so they'll be pretty straightforward, which is the case with Bass Drop Freaks. Besides a few arrows that I don't think really go along with the music, Ringo comes out with a +5 lead, but Own manages to close the gap by the time they reach the last drop. It looks to be anyone's game, but Ringo takes back the lead and ends it at 13 perfects to 15. Now on to Kronos. All of Ringo's song choices were in that 150 BPM range, which I might guess is a solid tempo for playing no bar. It's neck and neck throughout the first half, but the perfects start slipping through on Own's side and Ringo manages to slowly grow his lead. And peep this technique by Ringo for the ending run.
It's a sweep! And it's a sweep!
He slams down that last note because he knows he's got the win, finally netting the 2-0 that he's wanted, which puts Leisureland in the lead. Match 2 is Yoshimizu versus Nayu, and here we see one of the most stacked evil song choice screens to date. For Yoshimizu we have Typhon, and Nayu gets DDR Tag Mix. We're going all out this time with two super fast songs. In Typhon, Nayu masterfully handles the rapid fire patterns in the beginning, however, Yoshimizu's handling of that tricky offbeat section puts him back within range. In the end, it's Nayu who holds on strong for the PFC and a win by 16. Going straight into DDR Tag Mix is going to push these players to the limit in terms of stamina. We have Nayu out to a solid lead, but it's still anyone's game. By the time we near the end, though, it seems Yoshimizu's run out of gas in the tank, and he can't keep up. Doesn't look like he had much of a chance since Nayu clears it with an insane 14 perfects. SUPERNOVA is going to need a miracle going into the tag battle. Yoshimizu and Rinbo versus Nayu and Yuki. Leisureland gives them the choice of Roppongi Evolved, which is funny I guess, though I'm more of a version D man myself. SUPERNOVA picks Antimatter, and for Leisureland we get Roppongi Evolved C. In Antimatter, it's once again Nayu out far ahead of the other three competitors, but that lead is threatened due to some costly missteps. Even then, he manages to squeak by with a 6EX lead for the top spot, and even though Yuki wasn't able to keep up, giving points to Yoshimizu and Rinbo for second and third, Nayu's win here all but guarantees a Leisureland win. Just for fun, we'll play Roppongi Evolved, and here we see pretty much the same story play out. Yoshimizu has the lead early on, but some crucial perfects during the slowdown hands that lead back over to Nayu, who takes it all the way to the end with a wonderful single-digit perfect. It was a good fight from SUPERNOVA Tohoku, but there was just no stopping Nayu today. Definitely MVP, winning 4 songs back-to-back and securing the crucial win for Leisureland. Now that about wraps up week 5. But stay right where you are because we got another week to go through. Let's move on to week 6 matchups, starting with round 11, Game Panic versus Silcat. A lot on the line here for Silcat. A win will put them in the top spot for Group A, so let's see how they perform today. For match 1, we have Hoshiketi up against Ginyasu. We can see both players submitted the same song, and I mean, you could have seen this coming from a mile away. So we get to see the same song twice for the first time. Heron will test how the players handle those shock arrows, having patterns to step in the middle as well as patterns that need to be jumped over. This match starts out with Ginyasu barely in the lead. Of course, in the easy round, a handful of perfects can make all the difference, and we see that here. They don't call him the human metronome for nothing. Ginyasu doesn't give any chance to retaliate with some godlike MA, winning with only 3 perfects. But we'll see if Hoshiketi has Heron downloaded now going into the run back. Now with the song fresh in their mind, this is possibly the closest match of the whole tournament. The two are neck and neck the whole time as the +1 lead changes hands rapidly towards the end. This time Hoshiketi manages to take it 7 perfects to 8 in order to tie it up 1-1. Match 2 is Yoshie versus Abetaku. Yoshie picks Jet Coaster Windy and Abetaku picks Helios. Jet Coaster Windy has Abetaku off to a rocky start, and it seems the tempo sort of snuck up on him. You can see he elects not to ghost step during the freeze and loses some serious points. And again with these crossovers, couple that with Yoshie's solid lock on the song, and you can see this was a great song pick for Game Panic that may have caught Abetaku off guard. Yoshie wins with a pretty comfortable lead. In Helios, it's much closer to start, but this song has some notoriously unforgiving step jump patterns, and it's Abetaku that comes prepared this time around, navigating them with ease, while Yoshie, honestly, he kinda got filtered here. Abetaku cruises by with an easy win of his own. The last match for these two teams is Hoshikeri and G's up against Kaname and Ginyasu. Game Panic picked Tohoku Evolve, and Silkat picked Kakume X Special. In Tohoku Evolve, the players will need to keep a level head against the song's bag of tricks. Kaname and Hoshikeri come out as the frontrunners early on, G's with a close third, and Ginyasu not able to keep up. The top spot is a dead heat, but near the end, a miss by Hoshikeri swings the momentum in Kaname's favor, who capitalizes and stretches it to a 14EX lead for first. That means the score is still tied going into the final song. Kakume's slowdown causes a slight setback for Kaname, but he quickly brings it back alongside a much more comfortable Ginyasu. They are in the zone for their song choice and edge out Game Panic for a clear-cut first and second to secure the W for Silkat, along with the coveted first seed in Group A. And that brings us to the last match of the group stage. Round 1 is hungry for another win, while APINA VRAMeS is attempting to hold on to their perfect record. Let's see how this plays out. First up, we have Zero versus Poe. Zero chooses Diamond Knight, and for Poe we see the return of Dead Ball to Home Run. Diamond Knight is not necessarily a straightforward 14, there's plenty of double steps and crossovers to throw off the players here. We have a close match, but a miss from Poe gives Zero the slight edge. It's a nail biter all the way to the end as Zero hangs on to take the lead by 2. Now onto Dead Ball to Home Run. Precision is once again key to hit those swing rhythms. This match is as close as you could possibly get. Neither player is giving an inch. As the song winds down, however, Zero appears to be pulling ahead. But one last perfect means Poe holds on to make it a draw. Match 2 is Unri versus Naughty. And would you look at that, both players picked the same song again. There's something pretty silly about sort of tossing strategy aside for a laugh, but hey, it's not like this is a life or death tournament. May as well have some fun, so yes, we get to see 2 stay golds. This is one of those sort of flagship songs from recent mixes where they go all out on the gimmicks, so our players will need to be on the top of their game and not lose track of what's happening. Unri gets going with a considerable lead, but as the final chorus plays out, Naughty manages to close the gap. It all comes down to the final pattern. Unri does the crossover, Naughty tries to cheese it, and gets punished to give it to Unri. Luckily, he'll get a second attempt as we go into the run back. Unri gets off to a shaky start on the very first measure. Of course, at this level of play, even a few greats can be the decider. Naughty doesn't intend to let this opportunity go to waste, and nails a great PFC, Funky Ghost stepping and all, to tie up the match. We enter the tag battle with a 1-point advantage to round 1. So it all comes down to Oshima and Zero taking on Poe and Mamoru. Round 1 picks London Evolved B, and APINA picks Second Heaven. Classic. In London Evolved, APINA are trying their hardest, but it seems like there's no way to keep up with the star-studded duo from round 1. Mamoru is minus 27 heading into version B's tempo switch. Poe unfortunately runs out of steam by the end, with Mamoru not too far behind, and we get one of the widest gaps we've seen, even between first and second, thanks to Oshima's masterful 16 perfects. With that, the round has been decided, but let's scream into the final song just for fun. Second Heaven has a downright nasty chart for a 14, so don't think this difficulty has dropped too much. There's some hope for the first half with Poe going step for step with the round 1 players, but Zero and Oshima show they have this game on lock. with some great MA, and it's actually Zero who gets the win this time. Oshima 3 behind, and then at -9 is a tie on the APINA side. Not only do round 1 take the match, but thanks to Oshima and Zero's effort to scoop up as many points as they can, they earn the #1 seed for Group B. And there's our results for the regular stage. And then we also get to see the bracket for the quarterfinals. The difficulty is going to be cranked up for the next stage, so get ready to see some explosive DDR gameplay. And of course, I'll be there. I'll see you in just a few days when it all goes down. See you soon.